even more beautiful than just another Wednesday in Redondo Beach. It is more beautiful because it is a day already marked by success and progress for all of us around the world. And this is because just last night, prior to us all going off to sleep, NASA successfully launched the first Artemis mission towards the moon. It continued and then was put on hold, then continued and was then put on hold, and finally the world's rocket took off from the launch pad, and we all cheered very forcefully. So thank you again for sharing that moment with us, because we truly do see Artemis as a program that is all of us. So now that the shouts in the room were loud and happy, because we're all very excited, that moment was years in the making, and the Artemis rocket, SLS, joined with its crew capsule Artemis, were new, untested technologies being sent into the most hostile region between the Earth and the Moon for the very first time. And so, of course, a failure could have harmed the American space program for years to come. However, instead, as we now know, we jump-started the space program. And of course, even our Artemis mission will be equipped with GPS and other similar systems, doing much more than they were ever designed to do. So for today's PNT board meeting, let's try to recapture that feeling of accomplishment and national pride. It could be said that Dr. Parkinson initiated the GPS program in the early 1970s, at around the same time that the Apollo moon missions were drawing to a close. And so in many ways, GPS became one of the many technology substitutes for the moon missions. And since then, GPS has come to serve the entire world in many ways that we never imagined back then. So just like Apollo created spin-offs, as simple as Velcro, but have changed the world, GPS also has done much more than that. So when I came back to my room last night, I had several congratulations from the space sector friends from around the world, ranging from the US and Europe to even colleagues in China. And so this tells us that the world is again watching. And it should be in all of our collective interest that the world once again takes notice of what GPS still has to offer, building on so much of what has already been contributed in understanding our planet Earth and in making our lives easier, safer, and more secure. So with that note, let me please recognize Ms. Barbara Baker from the U.S. Space Force. She has come here as a contributor to our deliberations, and she represents the best of what GPS has to offer. Ms. Baker will provide us with an update on the newest capabilities of what GPS will have in the coming decade, and we sincerely appreciate that you are here today as a leader and partner today. So thank you very much, ma'am, on behalf of all of us here today and the millions watching on TV. We can only wish. Today's session will be chaired by Admiral Thad Allen, former U.S. Coast Guard Commandant, and by our first Vice Chair, Dr. Brad Parkinson, the Chief Architect of the GPS program. And we do have some members who will be online virtually, and so I will note for our chair that we do have a quorum to proceed. So as a reminder, this is the obligatory note. PNT board deliberations are governed by the Federal Advisory Committee Act, which means that the discussions are open to the public and meeting minutes will be posted online at gps.gov within 90 days of the record. We also strive to post all the briefings within 24 hours of their presentation, and several may be posted already. You can access them through the gps.gov website, in large part thanks to our colleague Jason Kim in Department of Commerce. So quick reminder, all members were appointed by the NASA Administrator after going through a thorough vetting review by the PNT Executive Committee. They are here as independent experts outside of the government to point out gaps and synergies that the government might not otherwise see. And as members, they are either special government employees or representatives. And special government employees must abide by established ethics laws that require them not to engage in any discussion that may create a potential conflict of interest. And so because of that, if any topic arises that a member believes may be a cause for recusal, please simply raise your hand and we will get your recusal on the record and move on from there. You will not participate in that particular section. And so finally, again, I'll point out you can access information at gps.gov. And at this point, let me say thank you once again, and I turn it over to our chair, Admiral Thad Allen. Thank you.
Thank you, JJ. Good morning to everybody. Appreciate everybody being here, and some of you have traveled great distances from halfway around the world, from Australia, Croatia, and other places. We're glad to have you here. It's a great team. It's always energizing to be with you folks and be around you and get the diverse points of view that all bear on our the global collective dependence on global navigation satellite systems. This morning, I would just say publicly, we are a work in progress. Over the last couple of meetings, we have looked at the governance structure inside the board and determined that we would basically disaggregate our efforts and try and cover more ground by creating committees focusing on various topics. So today's meeting will be different than previous meetings because we're going to be driven mostly by the committee work and the issues they are coming up with. We wanted to create a broader spectrum and our ability to actually look at the issues that are bearing on our charter and how we're going to deal with them moving forward, and we will do that. Number two, we all know that in the past, and basically since I've been a member of this board, even before I was the chair, we spent a good deal amount of time dealing with adjacent spectrum interference, specifically with issues related to legato. The feedback I've got from board members since the last meeting is